Hello my friends, today we're going to be druids. We're going to be going around a forest and some dark forests, and we're going to be getting herbs and mistletoes and making potions and visiting shrines. Today we're taking a look at Druids of Edora. This is the latest Stefan Feld design game. This comes to us from Aliyah, but Ravensburger in the North America. Let me show you how this game works at a high level, and then I'll see you for my final thoughts on the other side. Before I get to the moment you've been waiting for, I wanted to tell you about the Sell Trade program at Noble Knight Games. Now, as gamers, we all have games that are cluttering our shelves that we either don't have the right group for or might even not like it. Well, now you can turn those unappreciated games into cash or store credit. Noble Knight Games buys thousands of games and gaming products. It's easy to send them a list of the games that you'd like to sell or trade. Now they'll send you a quote and even pay for the shipping of the games. Get treated and paid like royalty while you sit back and collect cash or store credit. To get started, click the link in the description of this video or in that upper right corner there, and then click the Sell Trade button. At the beginning of the game, each player gets their own player board they're going to be managing throughout the game. They get their own dice, they get their own resources. They also get a long-term game goal, like placing out 4 of these rune stones, and I'll get 10 points for that at the end of the game. Now, route building is a big part of this game. The board is set up for the specific player counts because there's a certain amount of spaces depending on the player count. Now, on your turn, you're going to be moving, and the further you move, the more provisions that you're going to have to pay. You get a bunch at the beginning of the game, but there's other ways to get more of these, and you're going to be placing a die in your supply, and these dice are all rolled at the beginning of the game. And when you're there, you're going to be selecting one of the actions that's still available, like placing a rune stone. And these allow you to do things based on your die value, like ×2 I get points, so I would have just gotten 10 points for placing the 5 die there. You also get to place that stone here, and this is going to be important for endgame multiplier scoring. If someone goes there later, whoever has a higher die gets 2 points anytime there's at least 1 die on there. So there's a bit of area control going on throughout the game. And let's just say they place this stone. So this thing is starting to get stones, which again is increasing a multiplier for area control at the end of the game. Sometimes you'll be getting amulets, and these amulets will give you bonuses, like getting more dice from the general supply, allowing you to actually place them, because you don't want to run out, because then you have to basically waste a turn. Or maybe you're getting some mistletoes to brew potions. Now, if you're able to get both of these filled, it's 10 points for each row you finish, or 20 if you get all 3 on the left side. Potions are powerful one-time abilities that you gain by spending a certain amount, anywhere between 1 and 6, that give you all these different things, like getting 25 points or 10 points, or moving up on the knowledge tracker, or getting a stone for an endgame goal, or taking 2 actions of standing stones, all sorts of different things. If you're taking a stone action to take one of these stones, it will get replaced, but again, these are all endgame goals, like having 5 of these connected dolems, which give you points, but all these are 10 points if you get them. And when you take one, you actually get the bonuses on both sides of it as well, so some more combos. Because if you are able to connect 2 of the same colored ones, you get to collect those, getting 2 points for each die in the trail that got you there. But it's also a race, because the first, second, or third person to do that is going to get 8, 6, or 4 points for being the first, second, or third person to do it. Sometimes you'll be placing standing stones and getting anything you want. Like in this case, I'll be getting a mistletoe, but then you go to the left and go all the way and get everything that you uncovered again. So in this case, I would have gotten 2 total mistletoes. But next time I place them, I will get 3 points, 3 points again, and a mistletoe. Next time, let's say I get this. I get a knowledge track, 3 points, a knowledge track, a mistletoe, and these combo together. The knowledge track allows you to move up here, and it's going to, if you get here, here, or here, you're going to get a multiplier at the end of the game for how many dice and stones you have left on the board. Area control and all those stones we've been placing, up to a 4 times multiplier. And even with all those comboing of bonuses, the biggest way to combo is to get your sickle to come here. You would get to get both of these herbs and decide which one you want to have. And those are set up randomly at the beginning of the game, so each game you're going to have different things you could possibly focus on. So I have to decide between either being able to add or subtract 2 to a die when I'm placing it, which would be great for area control, or every time I take a standing stone bonus, which I just showed you, you get 1 additional one. Well, maybe I'm going to be going for area control, so you have to flip one of these over. So now I have this ability, every time I place a die for the rest of the game, I can +2 it or -2 it. And that could be huge, because this player earlier put a 5 with a stone. He thinks he has this locked up. I come in with a 3, but my +2 makes this a 5. Let's say I have the tiebreaker on the knowledge track. Not only do I get the 2 points now, but if it stays that way, I'll get this for the multiplier at the end of the game as well. So let's talk about that. At the end of the game, only 1 die can stay here. If I have the lead at the knowledge track, his dice get kicked out at the end of the game. This counts as a multiplier. Every die and stone here, so this is a value of 2, 1 die and 1 stone. Where on this one, the green player has 1 die and 2 stones. Doesn't matter who placed the stones, this player is adding 3 to their multiplier. So you're doing that for all the spaces in the entire grid. And depending where you are here, multiplier 4, whoever's on top is the tie for the tiebreaker, and you get tons of points at the end of the game. Before I get to the moment you've been waiting for, I wanted to let you know that Game Toppers is giving 15% off premium game mats and accessories specifically to my US and Canada audience using code GameBoyGeek15 off for a limited time only. Hear more about this at the end of my final thoughts. All right, now coming to this, I do like a good Feld. I wouldn't call myself a Feld fanboy. He's not one of my favorite designers, but I do appreciate many of his designs. His games tend to be, themeless and have great mechanisms, but usually they're like multiplayer solitaire. So some of them I really like. My favorites being, Carpe Diem, Castles of Burgundy, La Isla. Those are like my 3 favorites, pretty much in order. So let's go into with that baseline what I liked about this one. Well, this is a Feld point salad with teeth, which I love because I like games with a lot of player interaction. And this game is mostly multiplayer solitaire, but it has some teeth because some very important parts of the game, you're actually directly competing with other players, which I really like. But the game, it's a medium weight game. I think the weight's around 3 on Board Game Geek, but it does have quick, snappy turns. Hey, I'm going to move my guy over here. I'm going to pay some provisions. I'm going to take this action. Next turn. As we learn later, some turns can go a little bit longer with some crazy bonuses and comboing together, but they're pretty quick and snappy turns. I like that. You're route building with action selection. So you're trying to figure out, where should I go now? Where is it worth it to pay to go further? And where do I need to set myself up because I want to go here this turn and do this action, but that's going to be next to another shrine that could do another action next to it later. You're trying to sort of group your actions together, but you're also trying to build routes with your dice because you're also trying to connect those different pillars together as well for some points as well. So there's a lot of different things to think about, even with the route building there with your dice. Here's the teeth part, is this game has area control, right? You're going to different spots, you're putting your dice there, your die has a number, and if that shrine has a die, at least 1 die from anyone else, whoever has the highest number at that point gets 2 points. Now there's a huge thing at the end game I'll get to in a minute, but every time a die gets added somewhere, 2 points to whoever has the most, regardless of who placed it. I like that because you got to figure out, where do I want to put my high numbered dice and where do I not need to place my lower numbered dice, or where is it, hey, we're all gonna do this together. I'll win some, you'll lose some, but which ones am I gonna win? I like the sickle and the herb abilities. Moving your sickle down that track, getting those herb abilities, deciding which one I want to flip face up, which one do I want to flip face down. So I got to choose one of these 2 sort of strategies to lean into, and those are kind of randomized each game, which are awesome. That you're going to get different ones earlier, which are going to give you different strategies, different things to focus on, even right from the start of the game. But those abilities, the herb abilities, is probably the best part about this game because it has such satisfying combos where you're going to go here and you're like, oh, I get a mistletoe. Hey, guess what? Every time I get a mistletoe, I get another one and 3 points. Or every time I get 3 points, I get more points. Or instead of 3, I get 5 points. Or sometimes I'm going to get, all these different things. If I go up the knowledge track, I go up 2 more, things like that. And you're doing all these, and then that really fits well with a lot of the bonuses in the game. So you combo things and then you get bonuses that run your combos that do other things. It's the best part. You have sort of the fireplaces where if you surround all those, you first want to do it with all your dice, you get a bunch of bonuses. And those bonuses are going to allow you to then trigger off some of those combos, hopefully, if you're getting the bonuses with the herbs that you've activated. It's like, hey, I get this bonus, and I get this combo, and I do this. And it's like, you get to do all these things, and it's just awesome. They have the stones. The stones are basically, the end game goals. And I kind of like that all of them are just 10 points. So you don't have to worry about looking at it and go, oh, this one's worth 3 points, this one's worth 4 points. You just, hey, they're all 10 points. Which one of these have I already either done, great, or I'm close to getting, or I think I might be able to get by the end of the game. It kind of takes like one level of like min-maxing away, but at the same time, they're all supposedly, they're balanced score-wise. Are they balanced game-wise? Probably. But then it all depends on which strategies you're leaning into. I love the potions have those powerful abilities. So you're spending the mistletoes, you spend a 6, you get a 25-pointer. Whoa, great, right? Or you can change 3 of your dice to 6s. Whoa, that's great for area control at the end, which we'll get to. The knowledge track. So you're moving up this thing to get tiebreakers, which is huge for placing dice and getting 2 points for the area control, but also for the multiplier at the end of the game. Again, we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. I like that there is tension for those action spots, where it's like, hey, there's only so many action spots of each one on the board. And if you're leaning into a strategy and someone else is leaning into that same strategy, well, there's only so many spots for both of you, and so you've got that tension of like which part of the board has more of these. Are they gonna get there? Do they have enough provisions to go out and jump and get this last action spot that I really need before me? But you're also weighing in the amount of dice you have and your provisions, and how it's basically the currency you use and how you move. Because if you run out of that, you basically have to waste a turn to take one die from the general supply, put it into your supply, and get 6 provisions. And so you're basically wasting a turn. You will miss a major action, so you don't want to do that. So it's the tension of, oh gosh, I'm going to have to spend my last die and spend like my last 7 provisions just to go there to get either 3 dice or 12 provisions. Oh man, this is going to be hurt, right? And so there's a lot of tension there too. And then the end game, as I said, we get there. This is huge, and it's like, okay, all of your dice, the highest die in each of the shrines kicks all the other ones out, and then any of the stones that were placed out on the boards, because 2 of the actions, give you some comboing of stones. One of them is like the standing stone, where it's like you put the stone and you get that bonus, then you get the bonus of everything that you've already done to the left of that, and it's like those things combo, and those combo with your herb combos. But in addition to that, those things also get you those big multipliers at the end, because each die, there could be shrines with multiple stones on there, because people may have gone there with big dice, put the stones on there, and so you're kind of trying to use the bigger dice for the bigger stones, because those give you the bigger multiplier at the end. And I like that, because it's like you're fighting, which areas, as soon as someone puts a stone, which ones people are going to really be fighting for, because it's upping the multiplier. Every time there's a stone on there, it basically increases the multiplier by 1, which is huge. And you're multiplying the knowledge track is huge. So the end game's cool, because you're fighting over everything. Now, I've read a lot online that a lot of people didn't like the 2-player game. I thought the 2-player game was great. There's just enough interaction to make it interesting, especially with what I just talked about. And I highly recommend, in the 2-player game, and all the games, quite honestly, the last variant in the book is the same dice variant. So when one player rolls the dice, everyone sets their dice to the exactly same thing. That way everyone has an even distribution of what they can do throughout the game. That is very important, I would say. I don't think I would want to play this game without that, because if someone rolls just a lot better than you, they're going to have a lot of better areas for area control and getting the multipliers for the scoring at the end, which is huge. So always use the same dice variant regardless of player count. But it does, 2 players I think was great. It's very cutthroat. It's even more cutthroat because you are fighting area control for just each other. And it's just as tight because the amount of spaces on the board scale with the number of player count. So don't be shy away. I thought this was great with 2 players. Sure, is there less interaction than with 2? Maybe, but they might mean even more, because every time you win something, it's an absolute zero-sum thing. Like, hey, if you got these 6 points, you're taking it away from them. That's a 12-point swing because you're only playing 1 player. So yeah, there might be less actual spaces where you fight for things than in a 3 or 4 player game, but they actually probably mean even more because you're fighting against just one person. On the negative side of things, was there anything I didn't like or could see improving? There is a lot of setups, lots of bits, lots of tiles, lots of little things to set up. For the amount of the length of the game the game is pretty fast. I'd say it's about 20 minutes per player if everyone knows what they're doing. You could play a 40-minute game with 2 players, never more than 60 minutes for 2 players ever. But you still should be able to get 75-ish, 80, definitely less than 90 minutes for 4 players. But for a game that feels very snappy, especially for 2 players, there's still a lot of setup with all the stones and all of the bonuses next to the stones and all the potions and all the little stones and the standing stones and all that stuff. So a little long setup for how long it is, but this is a great game, so I'm going to overlook that. It's easy to forget to use abilities and bonuses. There's so many extra things you're getting on turns, which is the fun of the game, that oftentimes you will still forget things like, oh, I have 4 of these herbs unlocked. I forgot to do this one last turn. I just remembered it. There's going to be a lot of takesy-backsies here where it's like, hey, I haven't done my next turn. I just realized that last turn I didn't take this bonus. Can I just get another herb and 3 points? Like, we've been very lenient in this game because everyone will do it at least 2 or 3 times a game. Like, oh, so a lot of times you'll be like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize I had that fire. Oh gosh, if someone gets to someone, they're like, hey, I just got the fire. It's like, oh, wait a minute, I had it before you. I never took the bonus. That will happen sometimes. Like, things that can be easy to forget in this game because there's so many things that you're possibly getting that you tend to forget things here and there. I wasn't the only player to do it. Every player has done it in every game that I've seen. The biggest problem I have with the game is the tiebreaker, because there's a lot of points at the end of the game with the multiplier scoring. If you're at 4 in the knowledge track and you're getting 15 or 14 numbers between dice and stones, that's huge, right? And the tiebreaker is who's on top. And I get why he said on top, because otherwise you could just rush to the end of the knowledge track for your main strategy and then just work on area control and you'd have all the tiebreakers. So he wants it to be sort of like a little game of cat and mouse or chicken at the end where you're trying to like do it late. You want to be the last one to get to the end of the knowledge track. And then quite honestly, the knowledge track is not that hard if you focus on it just a little bit to get to the end of it. But the tiebreaker is so huge that pretty much every game I played, if you had swapped two of the whoever was on top versus who was maybe just below them, anytime you would have swapped any of those, a different player would have won. It's that swingy. And some players might not like this. I would prefer the knowledge track to not stop. I would like it to just keep going. Keep the multipliers where they are at the same spot, but instead of just getting 2 points every time you knock up against the top of that knowledge track, give them a choice. Either take 2 points or move your knowledge tracker one more, just like normal. And that way you have a choice of like, hey, is it worth it for me to go up this knowledge track more just for points? Or is it really going to make a big difference in the area control? How many ties do I have out there? How many ties do I think I'm going to have out there? I thought that'd be a much more balanced way of doing it without it being so swingy at the end with just waiting. Because whoever gets on the top at the end is likely going to win the game most of the time, I would say. And so I'd just like to see that have done a little differently. With that being said, there's still a lot of other things in the game that just make this so amazing. And this is absolutely already in the question, in the conversation of some of my favorite Felds, like Burgundy, Laisa and Carpe Diem. This is already in the conversation of those. And even just after a handful of plays, this might be my favorite one. And I think it's only going to get better. There's a lot of replayability in the setup. Just the board gets set up differently. It's kind of like 5 tribes, where you set up the board, you set up the pieces, and you go, oh, and you see your bonuses, and you see how everything sort of fits together in that game. Every game's going to have a different puzzle, which is going to make you play it differently. And because of that, because of the teeth that this has, that none of those other Feld games have as much as this one, I think this one is going to end up possibly being my favorite one over time. And for all those reasons, it is getting my highest honor, a saxophone serenade. So here we go. Game Toppers upgrades every game you play, being the one table to rule them all with Game Toppers, leg kits, dining covers, premium game mats, and more. And for a limited time only, my US and Canadian audience can get 15% off their premium game mats and accessories using the promo code GameBoyGeek15OFF. Also, go to GameToppersLLC.com to check out all the options or for worldwide late pledges of their recent 5.0 Kickstarter.